Clark-Devon Hardware presents Quick Class. What's in your Sweatbox?
Torch it. Some of you have, I'm sure that most of you have done this before. If you haven't, then you know what the sweet smell of propane is. They put that additive in there so you know it's there. Okay? Open it up. Now the gas is flowing. And what you have to do is you have to ignite it. The best way to ignite it is with a striker. Okay? That's what the striker. And you always see plumbers, what you do is always, the striker is always hung from the belt. Typical flame, this over here, there may be some impurities in the head because you're getting a lot of yellow on the flame. So you can, what you do is you'll have, but this is more than adequate heat to be able to do any of these fittings that we have here. Now this head over here will only work with propane, and propane only. Now, if you wanted to take this head and you said, I can buy this high temperature gas, I'll put this head on here and I'll get more temperature. The answer is no. Two things are going to happen. It requires a swirling effect to be able to utilize this gas to get more heat. Now there are torches that do just that. This torch over here, which is made by a benzomatic, which we actually have on special. Heads like these over here, you can use with MAP gas. Now with the MAP gas will burn, like we said earlier, significantly hotter. And what it'll do is it'll allow you to be able to solder or sweat in kind of like different positions, because it's very seldom that you're working in conditions like this. Most often, it's dark, it's wet, you're under the gun. The conditions are not good. So it's seldom that you get that opportunity. A torch like this one over here, which is a self-igniting torch, it does not require a striker. Now there's a swirling effect that's happening. You're able to utilize the MAP gas to its most efficient use. Now, when you're going to be doing
different smell?
Actually, very similar. Very similar. Not the same, but very similar. Now, there's a lot of things that if you're going to be doing this on a regular basis, in addition to selecting a torch head, in addition to buying the right brushes, in addition to buying the deburring, and all the other accessories like the tubing cutter and everything that goes with it, there's a few other things which you may want to consider. How many of you ride bikes? Okay. Now, for those of you, how often do you wear a helmet? A lot, right? Or zero. Okay. Well, you know what the helmets are like. The only time when you need it is the time when you're not wearing it. That also holds true for glasses. If you're working, especially if you're working overhead, wear glasses. Protect your eyes. It may not just be the solder that falls in your eye. Even flux is burning off. You don't want that. It lands on your skin so well. You're going to go like this. It cools as soon as it hits your skin. You got a little beauty mark. Big deal. Okay? It hits in your eye. Completely different story. So this is something you should add to your sweat kit. Since you're always working in lousy working conditions, it never hurts to have one of these handy. Everyone starts a fire. Everyone does in their working career. Hopefully it's a small fire, but everyone does. You got to put it out. Usually put it out with water. But if your helper gets a little carried away, it's always good to have fire extinguisher, which we also sell here. This is something you should also have in your toolbox, because after you solder the joints and you're done with it, the best thing to do is to let it cool naturally. But if you need it for some reason to cool it more quickly, you can use a wet rag, you can spray it with a spray bottle, but the best way to do it is to let it cool naturally so you do not disturb the joint. But there may be times you have to cool it down faster than it would normally cool down. The spray bottle certainly will work perfectly. Now, since you're always working in a very unpleasant, tight condition, there has to be ways to be able to avoid setting something on fire. There's different ways to do that too. You can also buy a heat shield. The heat shield, you can see it has openings here that you can actually hang it from an area, so you're sweating up in the ceiling. You can hang this, and you won't set the joists on fire if you're working up in an attic. You won't set any of the members on fire. Great idea. Or
electrical line 1, electrical line 1.
And you just use a piece of sheet, all of which are tremendously effective. Nice things to have. Keep that in your soldering box. Everybody has a toolbox where you have this and you have that. Your sweat box, your soldering box, is going to have your gases, your torch heads, your striker, your flux, your cutter, everything else that you need to do the job. Have either A, heat shield, or B, a piece of sheet metal, or better, both of them. And have that handy, because the day that you need it is the day that you won't have it. You only have to do 2 joints. That's the day that you're running around saying, where's some water? Where's some water? And for those days, you need a Do It Best bucket, which we have right here. Okay? It also comes in handy. Anybody have any questions?
Quick Class is produced from highlights of our in-store School of Maintenance and Repair seminars. Clark-Devon Hardware is located at the corner of Clark and Devon, 6401 North Clark Street. When it's time for hardware, it's Clark-Devon Hardware.